Hi there. I'm speaking to you now through this media solely because I did write a piece for a German brass quintet called Ensemble Schwerpunkt. Um, well, I guess the whole thing, how I got this gig, it goes back to 2008. I was writing an orchestra piece for my diploma. It was not a commission, so there was no prospect of having it performed. Took a long time, it was really hard work. But then I finally finished it and I sent it to this workshop with Jyväskylä Sinfonia at Viitasaari Time of Music Festival in Finland. And not only was it selected to the workshop, but actually the artistic director of the festival at the time, Tapio Tuomela, selected the piece for performance at the festival. So I was on the program. And the performance happened. The premiere was great deal for me at the time. Really humbled and honored. And the tubist playing in the orchestra, actually he was on a gig. I don't think Jyväskylä Symphony has a tuba, but tubist Harri Litzle happened to be there on a gig, and he apparently he really loved the piece. By the reaction I got from the minute I met him, hey, you're Jarkko, you wrote Astragal. And then later, Janne Ahonen, the tuba player of Ensemble Schwerpunkt, was on the lookout for young Finnish composers with a plan to commission new pieces and premiere them in Finland for their upcoming tour in Finland for Ensemble Schwerpunkt. And I was lucky enough to be recommended by Harri Litzle to Janne, and here I am. That's how I got the gig. Well, the biggest challenge, to use that word, I think at the beginning was just that it was also it was the same thing that actually fueled me to write this piece, was the fact that I felt that I didn't have the same knowledge about brass that I already got from almost all the other instruments, namely woodwind instruments and string instruments. I did my master's thesis on the extended techniques on string instruments, and I studied the string quartets of Helmut Lachenmann, and that of course I was interested in writing for strings. But since these masterpieces, I really looked forward to the chance of writing for a really kind of no man's land or uncharted territories when it came to brass. And the challenge was that I didn't know anything. Of course, I knew what it takes to write an orchestra piece, obviously, but to write really this kind of really instrument specific chamber music that reinvents the instruments, that was something that I didn't even know if people had done that so much. It was really a big unknown, and there's nothing, at least for me, there's nothing more inspiring than a big unknown. I'd say, well, I suppose the best answer would be just listen to the piece, but I suppose there are a couple of things that stand out. For instance, or in the way that the piece is written, it's really about having a kind of really forward-looking or even radical, as the name might suggest, approach to the brass. And in these sessions with the musicians, we went through everything, and maybe just a little fraction of it actually ended up in the piece. And two main characters kind of stand out, two techniques that are in a way polar opposites, but also very kind of alien to the normal traditional brass playing. And they would be first of all air tones, which exist on the wind instruments quite prominently nowadays in contemporary music. And air tones mean that you basically just blow air through the instrument without making the reed or your lips, as in brass, vibrate and kind of create the pitch what you're doing is noise, but it's kind of white noise, but it's actually filtered through the different fingerings. And since I've learned from these many books that exist on woodwind instruments, my bookshelf is full of all this kind of literature that does not exist on the moment for brass in such a great extent, especially when it comes to this technique. I wanted to know how it possibly transpose, what's the range, what are the pitches, what can I do, and how do they sound together. And that's a very good compositional kind of a first stage question. It's kind of mapping out the possibilities. So air tones, I can do harmony. It's noise, but it has a little pitch. I hear pitch. People say that it doesn't have pitch or expression. I think it does. And this kind of, you really have to kind of listen carefully. Like, what is that? And hey, I hear a third suddenly. This kind of mirage aspect of it was really inspiring to me. And the other technique would be kind of a polar opposite of that. It kind of compositionally made sense to have two very different things. The other one is the hand pop, when you hit the mouthpiece of the instrument with a flat of your palm like this. It creates a pitch, and then if you have a different fingerings, it produces different pitches. And same questions: well, what pitches do I have? What can I write? And how do they sound together? I used my recorder device that I'm using now to record this to sample these sounds when we try the instruments play a scale, and I put it on the computer and I played with it on the MIDI keyboard, and then combined different instruments together. What can I do? I did that with everything on the piece. I don't really expect any surprises. As long as the things that I did with the musicians here in Finland are reproducible, they can be reproduced with the Schwerpunkt, and I totally believe that they will. So those are the two things that kind of stand out. But when you hear the piece, and I hope you do. Here in the very beginning, those two techniques are actually together, and so there are very many combinations and a lot of things that I don't remember. They're singing and the multiphonics or the split tones, where by normal pitch production you actually produce two pitches, so without singing, and then you sing on top of that, so three pitches from a monophonic instrument. And there's a lot of stuff, but I guess if you follow the tail of the air tone and the hand pop, you get some kind of a scheme of what's the piece about.